Chapter 801, Origins and Laws, Journey to the West is about to be released. TL note, Journey to the West is a Chinese novel published in the 16th century during the Ming Dynasty and attributed to Wu Cheng. It is one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature. Meanwhile, in the new show Put Kanglan City most cent-level masters had to squeeze some time from their busy schedules to play games, which was why many of them couldn't be seen in the shop each day. However, in the recent days after Mr. Fang announced the news about the League of Legends World Championship Series, the Saint-level masters visited the shop more frequently. Huh? This old senior has been coming every day recently. This was a pinnacle stage Saint-level master. Salah glanced at the door and saw an old mage draped in a white mage's robe with a weirdly dressed young man standing beside him. Almost everything about this man appeared to be young, but Salah's sharp elf intuition told her that this young man was more extraordinary than the old mage. Mr. Swain. The old mage said, "I'll go get 2 bottles of Coke." "Okay." The young man named Swain nodded mildly and said with a solemn expression, "I'll go get 2 computers. Come and enter my lobby so that we can get to Challenger. We need more people, right?" The old mage lifted 5 fingers and said, "We need at least 5 people to form a team. Don't worry." Swain said mildly, "I'll summon masters who were once the most powerful figures in the world. Only we can form a team and become godlike figures." Salah watched them nearby and said, "Huh? How come they want to form a team too? Isn't it just an entertainment tournament?" Salah looked around. Even Xu said that there were many such competitions in the past. "Anyway, my snow pigeon team will enter the competition." Xu said that participation is important. This game is so fun that people just can't stop playing it. That is why even the saint-level masters are forming teams. She mumbled to herself silently, "It's so fun that I've been playing it all the time lately." Unlike the difficult games such as Dark Souls, in this game, the characters projected by champions in Summoner's Rift weren't stronger than level 6, and even she could control them with ease. At this moment, the old mage Hematon returned with 2 bottles of Coke. While looking around alertly, he said in a low voice, "Now, I guess no one recognizes us, right?" On the whole continent, the young man sat in his computer chair coldly and said while lifting 1 finger, "There are no more than 10 people who are able to recognize us." "Who?" Hematon exhaled and replied, "That's great." He glanced around at the level 8, level 9, and saint-level masters in the shop. "Don't let anyone know about it." Swain didn't continue the topic. Instead, he asked, "Have you found the champion that is the most fitting for you?" "I have bought more than 60 champions with magic crystals." Hematon sighed heavily. "I just can't forsake the position of the Chrono Keeper. After all, he controls the law of time. After countless battles, I think it must have left some impressions in my mind. Don't you think so? When facing powerful enemies and using these skills in the fiercest battles, it's true that your instincts would force you to obtain deeper impressions of these laws of nature," the young man said, "but if you don't have this kind of talent, all your efforts will be in vain. After all, the law of time is one of the most fundamental laws in the universe, and it is not something that anyone can master. Even though these spells are greatly simplified so that even level 6 and level 7 people can cast them. What should I do then?" Hematon asked uneasily. A tiny and extremely strange wind condensed in Swain's palm. "This is the new power that I discovered after having hundreds of matches in League of Legends and studying most of the champions. It's more elusive than laws of nature. This is the origin of wind," Swain said. "It's the power that I'm comprehending." He opened a character, and above the description was the picture of a phoenix condensed entirely from ice. The description said, "Anivia is as much a part of the Freljord as the never-ending frost. Long before mortals had ever set foot on the land's frigid tundra, she had lived countless lifetimes and died as many deaths. The beginnings and ends of her eternal cycle always heralded great change. From the calming of raging storms to the ebb and flow of ice ages, it is said that when the Cryo Phoenix dies, an era ends, and when she is reborn, a new era begins. This is the power of origin. Then, he looked into the distant sky outside of the shop. Our teammates will be here soon. The huge black stone castle north to Kanglan City was one of the biggest dwarf settlements in a human city. This huge castle was said to be a very ancient construction which could be traced back to the era before the Great Destruction in the prehistoric times. Inside the library of the castle, an old dwarf who was wearing glasses was tidying up the books. It was dark outside. The muffled deep sounds of wind mingled with ear-grating thunder as if a violent storm was about to arrive. Gusts howled into the windows, and the dwarf, caught off guard, stumbled under the force. Then, a bookshelf crashed down. Crack! A thunder flashed outside the windows. After the pale lightning bolt flashed, the world was plunged into a deeper darkness. It seemed like something was trying to crawl out of the abyss-like darkness. Gusts blew at the books that had fallen on the ground. One moldy ancient book was blown open, and it was a book with the recording about the sealed ancient demon dragon named Catastrophe. The dwarf bent over to pick up the books, and his gaze fell on this ancient book. It said that if the demon dragon came out, it meant a great catastrophe would come. According to the legends, before the dragon was sealed up in the distant ancient time, the bad luck that it brought made the whole continent experience a huge horrifying event which caused the world to fall apart. Even now, there were many small planes drifting outside the main continent. Oh! The ridiculous legends. The dwarf shook his head and walked to the windows, intending to close them. At this moment, an ear-grating scream came from the room. He saw a golden pupil filling the darkness outside the windows. Oh! Scared, he dropped onto the ground on his behind. Even the brave and straightforward dwarf turned pale. Tell me, lowly bug, if you honestly answer the question of the Great Gulf, I'll allow lowly beings like you to live for a few more weeks. Low and deep roars came from outside the window. Tell the Great Gulf how to get to the League of Legends World Championship Series. Ah? The dwarf froze. You don't know it? The golden pupil glared at him. I do. The dwarf nodded repeatedly. Then, the dwarf swallowed his saliva and said, in Kanglan City in the south, there's a shop called Origins Internet Club. Swoosh. The violent gust shook the solid castle while stormy winds gushed in through the windows. After a long while, the winds began to settle down. Gingerly, the dwarf walked toward the window. Suddenly, the golden pupil appeared at the window again. If the Great Gulf finds that you told a lie, I'll come back and eat you all. No, absolutely not. The dwarf wiped the cold sweat from his face. At this moment, in the new shop at the East Continent, a group of people stood behind Xuanhuan Ancestral Master and others, watching them play League of Legends. The people in the back complained, Ancestral Masters, you've played all night. Li Wakin scolded, shut up. Everyone behind him fell silent in fear. Xuanhuan Ancestral Master looked at the people around him and said, how about we form a team? It will be the most powerful team in the universe. But, Shangjiwin said mildly, it's not easy to choose champions. At this moment, Mr. Fang suddenly received a prompt. System upgrading progress reached 20%. Journey to the West is 50% completed. Obtaining the trailer for Journey to the West. The Monkey King prototype shard is obtained. League of Legends is updated. You can exchange for the privilege to sell the gift bag of the mysterious Oriental champion. Flying on and becoming one with swords. LOL Immortal Journey skin series are updated. The privilege to sell the skin series is granted. Project skin series are updated. The privilege to sell this skin series is granted. Chapter 802, the beginning of the new expansion. Fang Chi glanced at the task for the release of Journey to the West again. New task, will be issued when 80% of Journey to the West is completed. Gods and Buddhas in heaven. Task target: average sales of each episode of Turbulent Homeland exceed 30,000. Task reward: the privilege to publish the TV series, Journey to the West. Of course, after 20% of the system was upgraded, there was more content than this. He continued to read the updates about new champions. No tasks would be issued for the updates of the released games. After the update, a new group of champions would join and fight in League of Legends. There were corresponding cinematic trailers for different champions, so the players could learn more about them. At this moment, the players in the Duocity shop were working on the video about their gaming experience. From Resident Evil to Diablo to The Legend of Sword and Fairy, they selected pictures and video clips and revisited the beautiful and prosperous lands. They remembered the boisterous and prosperous streets in Hendon Maya and the beautiful port on the west coast. They also recalled the amazement that they felt at the first sight of the Sky Tower which reached up into Empyrean. In that place, there weren't so many bloody killings as in The Legend of Mia 2. They experienced the novelty and enjoyment of their journey as adventurers. At this moment, Lan Yan saw many old screenshots and video clips. Look at this picture we took when we first boarded the Magic Zeppelin to the west coast. In the virtual image on her communication jade, a group of young people stood on the Magic Zeppelin that was hovering in the sky. A puff of white clouds floated past, revealing the bright blue sky in the distance and the sapphire blue ocean below them. Looking up along the shore, they saw a prosperous port surrounded by jade-like lush forest. In the garden-like city, buildings spread out from the center like stars, presenting a pleasing scene from every angle. Huh? Look! Lan Yao pointed at the two people from the Ultimate West realm in the picture. They were Luo Bieling and Sire. Yi Xiao exclaimed, I remember, this girl was once beaten witless by the shop owner. I remember that they said they would guard this continent well. These Ultimate West realm people are quite fun. Lan Yan covered her smile with her palm. I guess they are still playing the game. They lived in the bitter cold Big Snow Mountains and had never seen such a beautiful place before. Nalan Minksu said, it's natural that they were amazed by it. Do you have a video? Let's use it. Okay, when we have time, should we go back and play it? Lan Yan suggested. They seem to be in Empyrean now, right? Although in this game, they didn't achieve any great deeds as in other games, the adventures and fights with stronger monsters were quite interesting. The new expansion has been released for a long time now, and I guess our items are outdated. Song Kingfing complained, we'll go back when the new expansion is released, by then, their items will be outdated too. Mr. Fang continued reading the information on the system interface. The new chapter of Dungeon Fighter Online, Creation Century, is 70% completed. Please post the update trailer on the official website. Cinematics trailer of the Second Awakening is obtained. This update will be done online after the Creation Century is 100% completed. The players don't have to log off. After the update, the third-class advancement for all classes and the Second Awakening skills will be available. Huh? Mr. Fang froze and yelled in confusion, online update. I'm afraid that we will be in the news on the next day with the title, Tens of Thousands of Players Suddenly Died in Origins Internet Club. I warn you, don't make trouble for me, it's fine with other expansions, but how can you do this update online? System replied, system upgrading. Mr. Fang was at a loss for words. FCK. You're the boss. After calling the despicable system several times and receiving no response even when he gave it the middle finger, Mr. Fang had to give up. If something happens, it's all your fault. Don't put the blame on me. Damn it. He continued to read and finally saw the content about privilege upgrades. Obviously, Mr. Fang, the somewhat fraudulent shop owner, was on his way to becoming a shop owner in the real sense after continuous privilege upgrades. Mr. Fang saw that, after the system finished 20% of the upgrade, he received another privilege, Prize Vault. Elementary level system Prize Vault. You have obtained the right to organize any internet cafe activity besides the tasks given by the system. You have the right to set the number and content of the prizes. The elementary level system prize vault can produce 5 prizes per year. Among them, 4 will be randomly produced, and 1 will be custom-made. The level of the custom-made prize can't exceed 80% of the highest level system item that the host possesses. Producing prizes will consume system energy. The host will receive no rewards for self-organized activities. All the content of this stage has been upgraded. Please manage the shops well and wait for the next stage of the upgrade. The updated content is ready to be released. Do you choose to release now? Mr. Fang answered, yes. At this moment, dark clouds covered the sky above Kanglan City with flashing lightning bolts and booming thunder. The world turned gloomy, containing deadly roars of fury. The chilly winds seemed to come from the ancient darkness. The deep darkness contained the presence of death and corruption. From the horrifying darkness full of deadly presence, a huge head stuck out from the dark clouds. Ah, what's that? The peaceful city was plunged into alarm and unprecedented fear. The countless pedestrians scrambled to run. Roar. A horrifying roar exploded like a thunder in the sky above the city. Screams and yells of alarm were everywhere in the city. The elves who had just run out of the shop to check out the commotion were instantly shocked unconsciousness. At this moment, people saw that a huge black demon dragon flapped its huge wings and slowly landed from the sky, causing a giant black tornado. Sir, sir. The employees of the shop called out to the shop owner frantically. Some elves fainted in fear. Come. Oh, who fainted in fear? Furious, Rolling jumped up from the ground and said, I just felt dizzy because of the shaking. We elves are not that faint-hearted. When she turned around, she suddenly saw a huge black dragon head and 2 golden eyes which were staring at her by the entrance. Ah! Shrill screams sounded. She tripped over another elf and bumped her head on the tea table, causing little stars to appear in her eyes. Thud. Sir, sir. Merlin was frantic. That elf was so scared that she fell unconscious again. Where are they? Where are they? Having just finished browsing the upgraded content, Mr. Fang heard the yells and hurried over to check out the situation. Sure enough, he saw some elves lying on the ground while a few of them had just gotten up. Hey? Then, he saw a black-faced young man with 2 wings on his back walking in and yelling, Sir, get me online. Boom. Before he could finish, a huge sound resonated in the area, and he instantly flew out like a black shooting star. If you scare my customers again next time, you don't have to come anymore. A vague figure with silver hair and in a blue windbreaker appeared on Fang Chi, making it seem like he turned into someone else. Half a second later, that figure vanished, and Fang Chi turned back to himself. It was so fast that everyone thought their eyes were playing tricks on them. Who? Mr. Fang exhaled deeply and thought, I practiced this for a few years already, but I'm still not fast enough. In the black stone castle dash. The dwarf had just put away the fallen books. Boom. A huge noise sounded, and a black figure crashed down from the ceiling, knocking the books everywhere. Ah! A frantic howl sounded. How come you're back again? Chapter 803, Water Curtain Cave in Flower Fruit Mountain. Stay tuned. After the magic spell was removed, Demon Dragon Gulf instantly changed back into the huge black dragon with a trace of confusion and puzzlement in its golden eyes. It looked left and right and then abruptly widened its eyes. How come the Great Gulf is back? It seems like someone punched me. No. How can a human defeat the Great Gulf? No. The Great Gulf was once defeated by a human. Who was that human? In its dragon form, Gulf scratched its head with its huge claws and mumbled to itself while spitting flames. How come I can't remember? Slowly, it got up from the ruined castle and murmured, Is it because too many years have passed? Forget it. The Great Gulf has League of Legends World Championship Series to attend. And there's no time to waste on these weak humans. It's not because I, the great Gulth, can't defeat him, but I must attend the competition. Yeah, that's it. It instantly flapped its huge wings and flew away. The dwarf who had been knocked out got up dizzily and looked around the ruined library. Our castle, damn it, this damn dragon, one day, we'll make you into barbecued dragon meat. The dwarves stomped their feet angrily. In the new shop at the East Continent At this moment, more and more customers came into the shop. You must have sensed it. The Xuanhuan ancestral master said in a low voice, if I didn't need teammates to enter the shop's competition, I wouldn't have told you about it. Li Wakan stretched his arms with a deep look in his eyes. You're right, the skills that we can practice in the battles here are indeed not as simple as they look. Very interesting. The grey-robed middle-aged man named Duga Yi said, we can control champions who understand the laws of nature. Even the simplest move or skill contains the use of the laws of nature. It means that when we truly understand them in the real world, we will have gained proficiency with these skills in this mystical realm already. But, Duga Yi said, the problem remains that we can't find proper champions. At this moment, they received a new message. League of Legends' online update is completed, and new champions and new skins are unlocked. To know more about the new content, enter the Summoners lobby and read about it in the Update channel. Update channel. At this moment, there were many League of Legends players in the shop, and many of them had received this message. Undoubtedly, the game streamers were the people who were most sensitive to the new messages. As a big streamer in the Kanglan City shop, Mr. Dirk was the first player to open the Update channel. In the West Continent, the players were not limited in the shop. There were many cloud players who watched live streams from other places. Since not everyone could make the long journey to Kanglan City just to play games, there had been hundreds of thousands of cloud players watching Mr. Dirk's spiritual spell visual projection. TL note. Cloud players or cloud gamers in China refer to those only watch live streams of games and various other content without purchasing hardware or software to play themselves. After the battle with the Shadow Legion, the number grew to almost 1 million. The cloud players of Dark Sword had grown to about 1 million as well, but today's live stream wasn't about the Dark Sword. In the Kanglan City shop, a dog-headed man sitting in a corner opened the Update channel. Which one should I watch? Instantly, he saw a group of new champions and new skins with introduction videos. As a streamer who usually played the dog-headed champion in the game, he soon turned his gaze to the champion standing in a vast yellow desert and wearing golden armor. Above the figure were the words about this video, Shurima, Rise of the Ascended. We'll watch this first. Previously in League of Legends, players had seen several Ascendants who were the Magus Ascendant Xerath, the Curator of the Sands Nessus, and the Butcher of the Sands Rinkton. Of course, Ascendant was a translated word and was not the same as the Cultivator's Ascendants, but they were somewhat similar. The Ascendants in League of Legends came from an ancient nation, Shurima. Regretfully, Xerath stole this ascension ritual and took horrifying power from it, turning the whole nation into dust. Their emperor, the Emperor of the Sands Ezir, was also buried under the vast desert. At this moment, Mr. Dirk was leading a group of people to watch the video. They watched as the blood of Shurima's descendants seeped deep into the ancient sands underground and freed a deep and ancient magic spell. With consciousness and a physical body reborn from annihilation, Ezir came back to life. But at this moment, he didn't consider the Empire or the Ascension ritual. The first thought after rebirth told him that Shurima's descendants needed his help. He didn't realize that he, the greatest emperor of Shurima, could finally ascend in the end. He only wanted to save Shurima's descendants and revive all of them. At this instant, the viewers were watching the new Champions trailer saw the sun disk deeply buried in the sand shooting out a radiant golden light. A miracle happened. The Ascension ritual is continuing. Ruins, sands. As if it was controlled by a great godly force, the great ancient nation returned to its previous state. The huge golden desert city slowly rose from underground while the huge sun disk, like a blazing golden sun, illuminated the whole city in golden lights. Shurima, your emperor has returned. My goodness. Astonishing. What champion is this? Is the new champion a god? Not only Mr. Dirk, but the large group of viewers watching his spiritual spell visual projection were staring at the scene in amazement. On the other side, the Xuanhuan ancestral master and others clicked open the new skin trailer. Immortal journey. The mountaintop reaches skyward, the earth reaches for the heavens. How come the Wuju bladesman can use the sword control technique? A group of people stood behind and watched the video in which the Wuju bladesman spread his arms, and 7 golden energy swords shot up into the sky. He turned around, and the 7 energy swords flew back and became one before dropping beneath his feet. Then, he flew out while standing on the sword. Behind him, the storm's fury Janna flew on her unsheathed immortal sword as well. These skins. They continued to watch with widened eyes. Immortal Journey gift bag for Eternal Sword Yi, Soaring Sword Fora, and Sacred Sword Janna, 99 magic crystals each. Immortal Journey gift bag, with the skins of the 3 champions, 288 magic crystals. In the new shop at the East Continent, the people exchanged a look. Buy it, buy the one with 3 champions, there's a discount for it. When we queue up as 5, everyone must use Immortal Journey skins. Without the skin, they can't join us. Then, they saw something else in the update channel. Gift bag of a mysterious Oriental champion? What's this? There's no trailer for it. It seems to be related to the new TV series. We can't even see what this champion looks like. Only a black figure was shown on the gift bag. Where's the new TV series? These people turned to the new TV series, but they only found Flower Fruit Mountain, Water Curtain Cave, and a big boulder. Stay tuned, sir. The old customers in the Jua City shop, the old Taoists in the Yuan Yang City shop, and the customers, like the elves, in the Kanglan City shop all sent messages to file their complaints. Sir, a mountain, a cave, and a boulder. What kind of trailer is that? Is this boulder the main character? Do you want us to watch this boulder? Su Tanji was the most active in her complaints, and her expression showed that she felt like she was being treated as a fool. If people want to watch this boulder, I'll cut off my head and give it to you. Chapter 804, Sir. Bad news. A dragon passed out in fear. It wasn't only Su Tanji, even Salah sent complaint messages. Sir, tell me that you posted a faked trailer? Sir, Jiangxi Oyu also protested in anger. The so-called Flower Fruit Mountain had a great scenery, but, in this new TV series, are we going to the so-called Flower Fruit Mountain to look at monkeys? Mr. Fang replied in surprise. Huh? How did you know it? I don't want to see your damn monkeys, Jiangxi Oyu said in a huff. I don't want to see monkeys. Post a good trailer for us. In the past, the trailers all showed powerful figures, but there were no promotions for this TV series. The scummy shop owner refuses to promote it, which means that the new TV series isn't good. In the Kanglan City shop, the knights led by people like Commander Elvin and Helen protested as well. Anyway, we have so many new champions. Kelly Bull raised her arms and called out to them, we will just not watch it if it's not good. Let's check out the new champions. At this moment, a yell came from outside the Kanglan City shop. League of Legends. The Great Gulf is back. There was no response from the shop. Previously, some elves came out to watch, but right now, the elves were all checking out the new champions and had no time for other stuff. The being that entered the shop looked quite young, and he was dressed in black scale armor. However, his face was also covered in black dragon scales, which showed that he wasn't human. His face was vicious as he glanced around the shop. This figure spotted Mr. Fang, who was making a cup of cappuccino. At this moment, Fang Chi glanced back with a calm expression, but this newcomer knew that the shop owner would beat him if he did anything wrong. He instantly shrugged and turned quiet. I'm here to enter the League of Legends World Championship Series, and I have no time to mind these tiny humans." Then, this figure walked into the shop as if he was looking for someone. Although he seemed bold and brave, he was trembling in fear a little. Here. A mage holding a bottle of Coke beckoned at him amiably. Gulth walked over in doubt, and his suspicion evaporated when he saw Swain beside the old mage. Then, he bought a membership card. "Sit," Swain said mildly, "choose some fitting champions and get yourself familiar with the game first." While pointing at the newly released update channel, he added, "These are newly released champions, see if you can find a fitting one." On Swain's own screen, there was a wandering warrior who was playing a flute. Demon Dragon Gulth looked at Swain's screen in confusion and then at his own screen. "Check out the new champions. Let the great Gulth check them out. Be careful," Swain said with a faint smile. "The champions in the game are all powerful, don't get scared." Ha 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 ha. Demon Dragon Gulth let out a thunderous laugh. The great Gulth has seen everything in the world. He thought for a while and told himself that the human who was stronger than him in the shop just made him a bit more aware, and he wasn't scared. His voice became louder, "Don't underestimate me." The great Gulth once even peed at the feet of the god of the Demon Dragon clan. Realizing that he had said something he shouldn't, Gulth immediately shut his mouth. "The powerful champions whom you mentioned can't be stronger than gods." Then, he saw Aurelian Sol, the Star Forger, who was also a dragon. "This one looks good, let me see if it's good enough to be picked by me." He chose to watch the introduction trailer of this champion. Good. Swain watched the trailer on his own screen and said indifferently, "It's a good choice to have a champion that fits your species." "Of course," Gulth said while he watched the trailer. At this moment, the scene before him began to change. The sky above the peak of the snow mountain should be dark and quiet. However, the radiant river of stars turned the gloomy sky dark purple. Heavy clouds reflected the starlights, turning the thin clouds to red and the thick clouds to pitch black with a dim white tint at the edges. Red, white, purple, and black decorated the sky full of stars like rainbows, looking as beautiful as a dream. A deep and ancient voice that was even and mild seemed to engulf the entire starry sky and the earth. No matter what planet, no matter what galaxy, they always look up and wonder. In the dream-like starry sky, time seemed to be drifting and space was distorting when a vague dragon paw condensed in the universe. The huge dragon claw seemed to block half of the sky while stars and a nebula gathered in its palm. At this moment, Gulth seemed to forget to breathe with the illusion that the dragon claw could even crush gods to death as if they were ants. With its huge dragon head, Gulth couldn't imagine how majestic this dragon would be. Countless blazing white flames gathered continuously in the vague dragon claw like a black hole sucking in lights for destruction. Gulth seemed to see that the flames condensed into a dark core in the dragon claw. Then, the dark core exploded and gave birth to an extremely radiant golden star. At this moment, the vague shape of the dragon head appeared in the void while its body winded behind it like high mountains for more than tens of thousands of kilometers. Some fall to their knees and worship, others hide behind walls and towers. But the thing they do best is beg for mercy. Gulth's golden pupils bulged while his whole face looked like that of a fish out of water. "It's just adorable." As the huge claw tightened its grip, the star in the Dragon King's palm exploded again. It was crumbled. It turned into a puff of radiant fireworks in the starry night. "Have you found a fitting new champion?" Beside him, Swain was also looking for new champions for himself. Suddenly, he saw a huge champion, Cho'Gath, the Terror of the Void. TL note, Cho'Gath's nickname in China is Big Bug. If you haven't found one, this champion might fit you. His words were received by silence. Swain frowned and patted Gulth who was sitting beside him. "Stop watching, check this champion out." There was still no response. "Gulth?" Feeling that something wasn't right, Swain pushed harder. Thud. Immediately, the idle elves saw this scene and yelled, Ah, sir. Bad news. A dragon passed out in fear. What? A dragon passed out in fear? Where? Let me see. Many idle customers in the internet cafe walked up to watch. Chapter 805. I'm a demon dragon from the prehistoric times, and I need magic crystals to buy gift bags in League of Legends. Wow, look at that dragon. The elves talked among themselves in the crowd. Isn't he very powerful? When he came to the shop, the sky changed colors. Rowling looked at the dragon and said curiously, "We didn't know that he is so cowardly." Salah said, "I wonder where he came from. He pretended to be scary but in fact isn't powerful at all." Beside them, Elder Sewell nodded and said, "I saw such dragons before. Usually, black dragons of this age have level 8 or level 9 strength. It probably hasn't reached adulthood yet and is definitely not a powerful dragon." Obviously, Elder Sewell was knowledgeable, and her words were convincing. At most, he is at the early stage saint level, no higher. Lying on the ground, this black dragon twitched his ears and heard the people's comments the moment he woke up. Cowardly? Not powerful at all. Perhaps he hasn't reached adulthood. Do you know what a horrifying existence the Great Gulf is? The black dragon got up from the ground and roared. Sparks flew out from his mouth. If that great dragon king isn't an existence greater than God's, the Great Gulf wouldn't have been overwhelmed by its presence. If you saw that great existence crush a sun with one hand, you would end up worse than me. Demon Dragon Gulf yelled. Crushing a sun is no big deal. Salah said with a snort, when we played The Legend of Sword and Fairy 4, we saw an ancient god shooting down 9 suns. Yeah, we even used his Hui sun shooting bow. Beside her, Rowling yelled, Humphrey, there's nothing to be afraid of. You. Surrounded by a group of people, it seemed like Demon Dragon Gulf was going to argue with them to the end of time. While pointing at the elves, he accused angrily, yesterday, the Great Gulf scared you unconscious. You have no right to judge me. We were not scared unconscious. One elf argued with a red face, I was knocked unconscious. You fainted due to fear. We all saw it. You cowardly elves. You cowardly dragon. Roar, roar. Demon Dragon Gulf almost burst in rage. You could only use that god's bow. It's nothing to be proud of. Demon Dragon Gulf roared, later, I will be able to control this great dragon king's projected figure and learn its battle skills. Then, he glanced at the screen, the Starforger Champion gift bag, 99 crystals. I'll buy this champion gift bag right now. Demon Dragon Gulf roared, we'll buy it too. The elves said together, you. How can you buy it too? Demon Dragon Gulf looked at the elves incredulously. Boss, the newcomer dragon is arguing with the elves. Go and check it out. At this moment, Mr. Fang walked up through the crowd. Fang Chi heard that they were arguing about the purchase of gift bags, and he interjected, you have to argue about the purchases of gift bags. He waved his hand casually and said, this gift bag is for sale permanently. Anyone can buy it. Then, he pointed at the bottom of the screen. This 288 Crystal Champion Skin gift bag is for sale for only 1 month. If you want to buy it, you must act quickly. There's a 288 Crystal Champion Skin gift bag. This looks more luxurious than the ordinary gift bag. Then, I'll buy this Starforger Skin gift bag of 288 magic crystals. Gulf yelled. This will show the damn elves that the Great Gulf is nobler than them. Oh, this 288 crystal gift bag is expensive. Salah twisted her small hands in a dilemma. Although 288 magic crystals wasn't unaffordable for the elves, they bought many things each day. I have my eyes on several new champions and new skins, and I want to buy them all. It will cost too much if I buy the Starforger Skin gift bag too. I think so too. Beside her, Rowling also looked reluctant. Obviously, they were reasonable with their spending. Ha ha, surprised? Seeing their reluctance, Gulf looked satisfied. As a great demon dragon lord, He couldn't bear the disdain from these weak elves. Humphrey, this 288 crystal gift bag is no big deal. We will buy several champion skin gift bags and even the Project Skin series. I'll buy them too. The Elementalist Lux. I'll buy it too. The Great Gulf couldn't allow the elves to look down on him. This Star Guardian. I'll buy it. Mr. Swain, have you told him that the percentages of skills he can learn from the champions depend on the degree of compatibility to his own talents? Seeing this scene, Hemerton asked in a low voice. Swain was at a loss for words. Then, Hemerton glanced at the elves, knowing that they didn't know about this. They just used the game as a regular mystical realm to practice their battle skills and didn't mind which champion they bought. Playing a compatible champion would make the game easier to play, and they could unleash more power. In fact, except for the pinnacle stage of Saint-level masters, the others just bought all the champions they wanted and tried them out to find the ones that they liked. Then, they would mainly play these champions. Therefore, regardless if they understood the considerations of the Saint-level masters, the effects were the same. Of course, right now, what Swain and Hemerton were considering wasn't this, but, by the way, Gulth just broke out from the seal. Where did he get the money? Hemerton suddenly asked in a low voice. Mr. Swain, do you have? I just entered the world and don't have much money with me. Swain said mildly. Hemerton said after thinking for a while, I've traveled on the continent for many years and always didn't regard money as important. I never take more than I need. These two instantly got offline and stood up. Oh, Mr. Gulth, we've used up the 10-hour limit for today. We'll leave now. Oh, okay. Gulth, who was busy checking out the champions and skins with dizzy eyes and enjoying the gazes from others, waved his hand casually. 10 minutes later, Gulth patted his money bag. Then, he turned his head and saw hundreds of pairs of eyes staring at him. His whole face turned stiff. The boisterous shop instantly turned silent. He looked around and couldn't find Swain or Hemerton. After a long while, with great embarrassment, he mustered the dignity of a demon dragon and said, I'm a demon dragon from the prehistoric times, and I'm in urgent need of magic crystals to buy these gift bags in League of Legends. Anyone who lends me with over 20 magic crystals will get a share of my treasures when I find the treasures that I hid in the ancient times. Get out. Chapter 806, Heaven Punishment, Cheatandi Descends. Look at that dragon, he only knows how to brag, Sally commented from the crowd. At this moment, the earliest customers of the shop such as Joseph and Ron walked into the internet cafe accompanied by their parents. Their parents happened to see this scene and then instructed their sons, look at this dragon. Despite his young age, he has begun to show his evil ways. It's hard to say what he will become when he grows up. Don't learn any bad habits from that dragon. What are you talking about? A pair of golden dragon eyes instantly glared over. Aye, let's get away. Joseph's mother pulled her son from the crowd and whispered, you see? That dragon obviously didn't go online until today. If you don't learn stuff online, you'll end up as a good-for-nothing, just like that dragon. Right. Beside them, Ron's mother encouraged in a low voice, son, work hard online. Gulth's vision dimmed, and he almost passed out in fury. Then, the youths, such as Joseph and Ron, got busy. Mom, I want to buy the Project Skin series gift bag, Ron said in a loud voice. I want to learn saber techniques from Uncle Yasuo. Then, we'll buy this Project Skin series gift bag. Mom, Ron's mom bought him the Project Skin series gift bag. I want to buy the Project Z gift bag. Beside them, Joseph said, I want to buy the Blind Monk gift bag. A young man about the same age as them said in a loud voice, I want to buy the new champion, Jin. He is super cool with his gun thing. The parents smiled at them affectionately and encouragingly. No problem, you can have them all. Ron's dad even said, Ron, if you can reach gold, I'll buy you the latest model of the new communication Jade. While League of Legends went popular in the shops, a TV series was also warmly received by the viewers. It was popular not only in the East Continent and the continent of Immortal Relics but also in the new shop at Kanglan City as well. As the Turbulent Homeland 1 ended and the Turbulent Homeland 2 began, the war in the human world had just ended. One after another, the ultimate human martial art masters engaged in top-level battles. On the Sky Ethereal Peak, all the battles came to an end after the two techniques, Heaven's Witness and the Snow White Sword, clashed into each other. Behind the battle was the life of a warrior who had stunned an entire generation. Countless heroic figures and exquisite martial art techniques had just begun to show their stunning radiance, adding magnificence and beauty to the arena of the mortal world. However, at this moment, a true god with an ultimate lofty position and immortality turned his cold gaze toward the human world from the heaven realm that only existed in the legends. Chitandi was born in the heaven realm. Proud and self-disciplined, he was the most powerful martial god in the godly palaces of the heaven realm. Like the sun bringing light to the land, he subdued all the demons and conflicts in the unknown universe space, bringing peace to the world. With one thought, people could turn godly or demonic. This lofty and emotionless immortal existence was tired of the fights for power and killings in the mortal world. Whenever he looked down on the mortal world from his palace, he always wondered why the heavenly gods tolerated these evil deeds. In his opinion, these filthy and selfish beings didn't deserve defense from the heavenly gods. So came the following story. His robe as white as a lotus flower transformed into a battle robe as black as ink. He turned into the most powerful demon god. Finally, he decided to destroy the entire filthy mortal world. Humans wouldn't know their insignificance and ignorance if they didn't have a taste of the despair of doom. No one could stop him, not even gods. Then, heavenly punishment came. Having tried new skins and new champions, the customers in the Jia City shop, Xuanhuan City shop, and Kanglan City shop began to watch the new TV series which had come to the end of the second season. As the huge suspense became greater, the viewers sat down to watch the latest episodes as soon as they were released today. Even the cloud viewers of the famous streamers such as Mr. Dirk and the ordinary streamers such as Dickers of the Magic Union were waiting for the live stream of the episodes shown on the big screens in the shops at night. What's it with everyone? Gulth was playing his newly bought Dragon King to gain league points, LP, in ranked games. During the process, he encountered a happy Yasuo who dashed around the minions for no reason, a Zed who fed the enemies non-stop, a blind monk who kept kicking away enemies with low HP, and a Jin who was the enemy's ATM. These players had all bought new skins. I'm so furious. The Black Dragon was so angry that he almost destroyed the keyboard. Glancing around with his golden eyes, he tried to see if anyone around him was playing any of these champions. If they did, he would go up and beat them. At this moment, he found that the customers sitting around him had paused playing League of Legends and were doing something else. From others' screens, he could only see a poster saying that the new TV series was only shown to paying customers before the public live stream at 8 p.m. Besides, they let out loud exclamations again and again, distracting him from playing League of Legends. Hey, you, tell the great Gulth what is this thing that you are watching so fervently? Harrison, one of the leaders of the Assassin Brotherhood, was watching the new TV series. He turned his head and saw a black half-dragon and half-human face and a pair of chilly golden eyes staring at him coldly like a demon looking down on the human world. Undoubtedly, any humans, even the saint-level masters, would shiver involuntarily when they saw these horrifying eyes since they seemed to symbolize a prehistoric catastrophe. It is the bragging dragon. Harrison said casually. Who's the bragging dragon? Gulth roared fiercely. Then, have you found your treasures? Other people looked at him with a funny expression on their faces. I found several hiding places for my treasures. Gulth roared, Those damn adventurers. All my treasures were stolen by those damn adventurers. Are your treasure hiding places called Gutan's secret vault? A girl who appeared to be a young noble lady asked. How did you know? The young noble lady took out a novel about knights and replied, it's written in the book, Bragging Dragon. Do you think that we never read this book before? The surrounding people all looked at him and laughed. Several aristocratic ladies passed him with their children and immediately instructed them, when you grow up, remember never to act like this dragon. He is lazy online and doesn't even know the most popular new TV series. What new TV series? How come I don't know about it? Glancing at Harrison's screen, he saw that the latter was watching the end of the 46th episode of the second season. Instantly, he activated the 46th episode and shouted, I've come to this episode too. The Great Gulf is low-profiled. Unlike you, I don't yell and scream while I watch it. Then, he began to watch as well. Chapter 807. You did your best, small god in the mortal world. What's so good about this TV series? Gulf mumbled while he watched. When mentioning Cheetandi, another demon god had to be talked about as well. Coming from the sense realm, it was the ruler of the world condensed by evil intentions and obsessions from the mortal world. Its name was Xuanhuan. The alternate dimensional demon realm created by Cheetandi made him want to descend in the mortal world and destroy it. On the other hand, the ruler of the sense realm wanted to plant evil spirits of the sense realm into human bodies and occupy the mortal world. Therefore, humans were stuck between the two forces which ruined the mortal world with endless disasters and horrifying catastrophes. If the mortal world was destroyed, the sense realm wouldn't be able to occupy it, so the two demon gods also fought each other. Godly power subdues all regions, and thunder and lightning must give way to it. Lightning bolts shot down like beams, and flames poured down like rain. A big figure seemed to appear from the endless dark abyss. Evil lights appeared first, and 5 lightning bolts dropped. At the same time, an extremely grand voice echoed across the world. Rule the land as a conqueror, and suppress all heroes as the pride of heaven. Hiss, this being. Gulf widened his eyes as he looked at the demon god which seemed to come from the world of fierce ghosts, emitting chilly and evil presence totally different from that of the mortal world. It appeared with an arrogance that stunned the world. This was definitely not the presence of humans. With only one look, Gulf felt the horror of this presence, which only the evilest demon gods could possess. When the booted feet landed on the ground, explosions appeared as if the land couldn't bear this great force. Boom, crack, my demon dragon god. Demon dragon Gulf exclaimed in a low voice, the ground explodes with each step it takes. Immediately, he covered his mouth and looked around, seeing several people staring at him. Why are you staring at me? Demon dragon Gulf said while sparks flew out of his mouth. Look. The great Gulf feels nothing when watching the so-called gods and demons. You guys yelled so much when you watched it. This demon god appeared, but I'm not afraid of it at all. I even want to eat a spicy stick. Raw, raw. After picking up a spicy stick, he waved it at the people who were staring at him as if he was showing them that the great Gulf wasn't a cowardly dragon. You guys slandered me. Although Gulf couldn't afford to buy all the skins for the time being, as a prehistoric demon dragon, he had enough money to buy spicy sticks. Everyone turned their heads back and continued to watch the TV series. At this moment, above the endless void and at the end of space and time, there was a radiant golden godly palace which was as dazzling as the sun, with winding creeks running through. It had pillars as tall as the sky. From the radiant palace, the loftiest existence cast a gaze at the mortal world. The homeland of humans sunk. With the sky pillars destroyed, the sky had collapsed. The barrier between gods and humans had a huge crack in it. A part of this being's senses and strength descended to the mortal world. Saint Demon Vital Embryo, it was the body that Cheetandi made for himself in the mortal world. Like an erupting volcano, He spat out a horrifying and destructive demonic force. The sun and the moon vanished from the world as if everything had entered the complete dark chaos. A grand demon god figure that was as huge as a great mountain was slowly injected into the vital embryo. Dressed in a black robe that had unworldly magnificence, he looked dignified with the highest nobleness. While raising his hands as if embracing the rising sun, he looked at the filthy mortal world with disdain and cold solemnness. This ultimate martial god had also descended in the mortal world, landing lightly on his toes. The moment that this demon god touched the world, the land couldn't take its heavenly force and instantly lost balance. Catastrophic storms swept up with vicious force. Violent gusts blew up his long hair and revealed his face, so perfect that one would think it wasn't supposed to be a part of this world. Like shockwaves of nuclear explosions, winds instantly devoured everything in the whole world, including the humans, demons, and beings from the sense realm, regardless if they were masters or average mortals. No matter what cultivation strength they had, they all exploded into bloody foam. The land under his feet cracked and then collapsed. Crack! An earth-shaking explosion came. It was the sound of earth breaking open. Boom! Seawater surged up for tens of thousands of meters with booming sounds. These were the roars of the ocean. Meteorites fell on land, huge mountains collapsed, and lava gushed out from underground. Everything in the mortal world was being destroyed. This was the doomsday that no one could resist or escape. At this moment, the viewers felt their minds turning blank. Their minds were completely occupied by this horrifying sight and couldn't contain anything else. Even one glance of this sight gave them a deep sense of despair, as if the endless darkness had devoured their bodies and souls. This was the most shocking scene in the mortal world and the saddest elegy for humans. Before such a power, no one had the slightest intention to resist. However, facing such giant and destructive horror, the other demon god moved. Thunderstorm condensed on the ancient and heavy halberd with forces of yin-yang and thunder. The lights from the halberd and lightning bolts tore open the darkness in the world, and the halberd shot out the moment that Chitandi landed in the mortal world. Evil lightning bolts exploded with a dazzling gloomy light, and then they bounced back abruptly. At this moment, Chitandi seemed to have just injected his awareness from the heaven realm into his vital embryo. He slowly opened his eyes. He was motionless. No wind could flutter his clothes. His gaze landed on the entire mortal world as if he spared no attention to the other demon god standing before him, and he said indifferently, "The mortal world got filthy again." The halberd waved in the sky, condensing blazing flames and flashing lightning bolts. Anything entered would be destroyed. Like a horrifying vortex, true lightning energy stirred ultimate blazing sun energy current into the halberd. The ultimately firm and bright essence was locked into one point in the halberd as soon as it was waved. It condensed into one. At this moment, Chitandi lightly launched a palm strike. "You did your best, small god in the mortal world." The heavenly presence collapsed as if the sky was falling. In the next moment, everyone saw Xuanhuan, the demon god with unrivaled power, fly backward as its physical body was destroyed instantly. It died without a fight. At this moment, not only Gulf but all the other viewers opened their mouths wide as if they wanted to scream with great horror but couldn't, since their chests were squished by a huge mountain or a hand was strangling their throats. They couldn't let out even a whimper. They couldn't even breath. At this moment, all of them felt horrified and felt like they were tiny ants. Chapter 808, Time Boils the Rain. As horrifying as that. In the new shop at the East Continent, a demon dragon put down the virtual reality headset and pointed at the screen in a daze. He shouted, "Ah, a god-level master, he is. So horrifying." The whole shop was silent except for the wild roars of the demon dragon, who was shivering uncontrollably. At this moment, Mr. Fang walked up. "I say, what's wrong with you, dragon? Look at the people around you, they are all watching quietly, and only you are screaming in fear. As a dragon, how come you're so cowardly?" Gulf immediately shut up and looked around cautiously. Sure enough, Everyone was watching the TV series earnestly and motionlessly. None of them screamed in fear. Gulth turned silent. Then, he glanced at Swain and Hemerton, who were sitting across from him. They were also silent. Is the great Gulth the most cowardly one? I'm going to the bathroom. Demon Dragon Gulth yelled. Then, with a hand on the chair to support his weight, he slowly stood up. At this moment, Swain and Hemerton, who were sitting across from Gulth, exchanged a look. Their feet under the desks were making thudding sounds. They shivered uncontrollably. Mr. Swain, can you get up? Swain's expression didn't change. Not now. Fang Chi had only 3-day access to the system's new cultivation room, which had been reopened. In the cultivation room, the figures that he knew as well as his own hands gradually became alive and then dimmed out one by one. Saber, sword, and other kinds of weapons shone brightly with their unique lights. Then, a dignified and noble figure dressed in a luxurious black robe gradually solidified before him and waved his hands. God's hand. God's vortex. God's thunder. With a dark expression, Mr. Fang fell instantly. The cultivation ended. Synchronization rate, 0%. Technique synchronization rate, 0%. Experience points obtain, 0. Who? Mr. Fang exhaled deeply. Lately, Fang Chi live streamed and cultivated in the morning and continued cultivation in the afternoon and during the night almost every day. Unlike before, he no longer used his free time on entertainment or leisure outings. A pale blue crescent decorated the pitch-black nightly sky. It was late in the night. While wiping sweat off his forehead, he took out a bottle of Coke and gulped it down. In this late hour, Fang Chi's communication beeped unexpectedly. The message came from the shop in Jua City. Upon walking into the Jua City shop, he saw some young people soundly asleep with their heads on the computer desks. The high-level cultivators, such as Xuanhuan, walked over immediately when they saw Fang Chi. Why are they sleeping here? Mr. Fang asked. They were mostly disciples of Linian Academy, including Song Qingfeng and Zai Chi. Xuzixin and other girls were also here. Come here and check this out. Nalan Mingsu beckoned at him. Tell me what you think of this promotional video. With that said, she opened a newly made video on her computer. Since they could buy related programs and software in Xzone, it wasn't impossible for them to make videos. However, it wasn't easy for them who thought of nothing but combat techniques and cultivation strength. In fact, Mr. Fang was surprised since he had expected that they would give up after a while. The first thing that he saw in the video was a pale blue butterfly flying by. The snow-white scene had a cleanness unique to girls. Then, there were more colors. With the background music named Time Boils the Rain, the images and clips from every game appeared on the screen in some clumsy and bland manner. The wind blows, and the rain becomes flowers. In a calm and bland tone, the video told a story about their first encounter with Resident Evil that year. Also, they had created many heroic stories of their own in Diablo. Excitement flashed in their eyes at the first sight of the sword control technique, but the sadness and melancholy replaced the excitement at the end of the game. The scenes of guilds gathering and battling in the royal city in The Legend of Mir 2 were still fresh in their minds. They felt like it was only yesterday when a group of people wildly slammed the buttons and swung the joysticks while playing the King of Fighters in the arcane game room in Mr. Fang's zone. They experienced the thrill when Dungeon Fighter Online opened the first server and the shock in the first PvP battle in the dojo. For the first time, the second time, the third time. They met players from all over the world and became friends. Then, in the world that was even bigger named World of Warcraft, they met so many friends from the West continent for the first time. Like stories in a long scroll, they recorded their joys, touching moments, coming of new friends, and parting of old ones. The stories ended with group photos imprinted in their memories. If they looked carefully, they might be able to find one or two familiar faces and the pure and sincere smiles. Heavy snow, I beg you, please don't erase the traces of our past. The heavy snow can't erase the memory that we left for each other. Looking at these immature people sleeping carelessly on the computer desks in the internet cafe. No. Time flew, and they could no longer be called mature people even though they were still young. The young people in the past had shed their youthful clumsiness, and in its place was a maturity belonging to adults. Perhaps they were tired. With a smile, Mr. Fang realized that he had known these people for years without noticing it. What's the hurry? We can have events anytime you want. We can have events anytime we want, but if we miss a certain day, we'll have to wait for another year. Mr. Fang looked baffled. What day? Nalan Mingsu looked at him curiously. You don't know? No. Mr. Fang glanced at the familiar faces. It's just 1 year, it's not like you have to wait for hundreds of years. He yawned and was obviously fatigued. Go get some rest, there were many extra rooms in my shop. He pointed at the young people who were sleeping on the desks and said, don't sleep here, you will all catch colds. By the way, what activities have you planned? You'll know when it's time. Nalan Mingsu looked at the dark sky outside the shop, and her bright eyes seemed to merge into the depths of the starry night. She looked back at the screen, and an indescribable melancholy rose in her heart. For one moment, she wished that the stories they had compiled could be longer. These were their stories of youth even though the people in the stories mostly began at high points and gradually turned average, just like her. However, no one said that they couldn't praise and appreciate average people. At this moment, together with Yu Ziwei, Xiao Yalf, and other staff, Mr. Fang and these people carried these men and women, sleeping like logs, to the rooms. Suddenly, Song Qingfeng jumped up from his chair and shouted, wow, pentakill! Pentakill? Where's the pentakill? Where? With a shiver, they all woke up and looked over with keen interest. Chapter 809, Official Partnership, Secret Big Prizes await you. Without high intelligence and unusual talents, people couldn't become cultivators or warriors. Even the worst warrior or cultivator was at the top level of all mortals. Besides, there were some outstanding figures among them. The younger generation led by Li Heran in the UI Taoist Alliance had studied the new stuff for a long time. The video wasn't only completed, it had a high quality. Apart from this, these cultivators also spent lots of time and energy on researching the new communication jade. The current communication jade not only could connect with QQ and live streams but also could access websites and the post bar. At least, people could easily use the simple functions on the communication jade. Right now, they were studying how to use the array engravings in spiritual artifacts to copy the functions of the smartphones in the games. At this moment, Li Heran held a small array disk with complicated engraved arrays in one hand and a program language book in another. Then, a message popped up on his communication jade. The planning of the event is done. In the heavenly faction at the East Continent a new event. The most productive time of the day was the morning, and most factions in the continent of the Immortal Village, East Continent, and the continent of immortal relics had the tradition of doing morning cultivation. The sun rose in the east, and the purple essence from the east was beneficial to the cultivators who were accumulating essence. It was dawn. In the heavenly faction, elder senior sister Yu Yin walked toward the faction square with a newly purchased communication jade in her hand. She was engrossed in the content in it. Oh, senior sister? You bought this new communication jade too? Beside her, a junior sister who was about 15 years and had a bun asked in surprise. Yeah? She touched the screen of the thin communication jade in her palm to browse the post bar. I'm reading the top post. The junior sister also took out her communication jade. Pinned post, official partnership event, memories of bygone years. Huh? It's posted in all the big post bars. I'll check it out. At this moment, many players in the old shops such as the Half City Shop and Yuanyang City Shop also noticed this new event. Event time, 9 AM March 28th, isn't it today? It was 6 AM. and Xuanhuan was sitting in his courtyard, while sipping iced red tea. He read the message in the post bar on his communication jade. Official partnership event? Until now, the shop hadn't hosted many events. The only one that Xuanhuan participated in was the StarCraft World Championship Series, in which he had won a golden spiritual boat that was called a Corsair, and it was now parked on the side of the cliff. Xuanhuan had been sipping tea leisurely. When he saw the message, he instantly sat up from his armchair. A new event? But what does official partnership event mean? He continued to read. This event is sponsored by the Origins Internet Club. The prizes are provided by Origins Internet Club and the organizer. The event venue is the special virtual event venue in Xuanhuan of the Origins Internet Club. This event will be broadcasted live in the official live stream channel. The players who can't participate in this event may enter the activity quiz of this event through the new communication jade and win special prizes. This event. Xuanhuan looked at his communication jade and murmured, "It seems bigger than the last in previous years." In the past events, the players who didn't participate in the competitions were viewers, and they had to bring their own snacks and drinks. But in this event, the viewers would be able to participate in the so-called activity quiz and win good prizes. Then, he read on, participants of the event have the opportunity to draw red packets that contains membership cards with game time from 1 to 10 hours. Jiang Xiaoyu was also reading the post on the communication jade with widened eyes. The opportunity to win a big gift bag of snacks in the shop. She covered her small mouth with her small hand while her eyes opened wide. My goodness, a big snack gift bag. In the past, even when she obtained a good rank in the activities hosted by the shop owner, she used to get only a small bag of snacks. It was infuriating. But in this new event, even the people who didn't win a good rank had the chance to get a big gift bag of snacks. I'll participate in the event. Xiaoyu, who was still in the heavenly faction as an exchange student, exclaimed immediately. Then, what are the prizes for the winners? Eagerly, she continued to read. The winners will receive a big mystery gift bag provided by Mr. Fang. The first place in the comprehensive ranking will get a mystery prize hand-picked by the shop owner. It must be noted that the players in the new shops at the East Continent and the West Continent had never participated in the shop's activities before. The artifact masters of the heavenly faction in the East Continent and the mages and dwarven craftsmen in the West Continent were especially envious of the players in the old shops for their prizes, like the Corsair spiritual boat, ghost gun, and rune words, etc. When the East Continent cultivators, who were just getting into Jade Dynasty recently, heard that a female cultivator in the Geocity shop had gotten the Black Snow Immortal Sword, they were green with envy. Let's see the contents of this event. Sitting cross-legged, Elder Xuanhuan of the heavenly faction was now doing his morning cultivation and deep breathing. A streak of purple essence scented with the pale golden morning sunlight that shined in. He had a communication jade in his hands. Inhale. Exhale. Let me check out the content of this event. Inhale. Without thinking, he read it out aloud. The first activity, Ready Musician 1, Dungeon Fighter Online. The Legend of Sword and Fairy, World of Warcraft, League of Legends. Which piece of music in the games is your favorite? Do you practice singing or instruments privately? Please sing or play it. The player with the highest points will receive Mr. Fang's big mystery gift bag. The other participants with good ranks will each receive the latest model of communication jade which hasn't been released in the market yet. This type of communication jades contains the UI Alliance's latest spiritual artifact technology which can break illusion spells and achieve facial recognition of the owners. Hiss. There's such a communication jade? But it seems like I'm not fit for this activity. After a moment of consideration, Xiaoyan continued reading. The second activity. Memories hidden in your heart. Write down the incident that touched you the most in the games, and it is better if you have pictures to go with the writing. The winner will receive a big mystery gift bag provided by Mr. Fang. The other participants with good ranks will each receive a mimic of godly items. including the Tanya Godly Sword, 7 Tribulation Dragon Slaying Sword, Sky River Sword, and 7-star sword created by the UI Alliance. The third activity, Ready Player One. It's time to show off the true skills. Do you want to prove that you're a true core player? Let's search for the higher level skills or Easter eggs in the games. Each player can choose only one game. The winners and the second place will receive the same prizes as above. Mr. Fang will provide 2 prizes for this activity and only 1 for the other activities. The other participants with good ranks will receive mimics of a classic item in the corresponding game or all skins for all champions in the new game, League of Legends. The number 1 in the comprehensive ranking will get a mystery prize handpicked by Mr. Fang. Are you ready? Come and get the big mysterious gifts. Xuanhuan looked at this event thoughtfully. I'll participate in the third activity. Chapter 810, Getting Drunk and Dreaming of Immortal Nectar. Although the announcement of the new event was posted quite late, the shops were bursting with people in the early morning. Even the new shop at the East Continent had a full house. Through Zone, all the customers could enter the event zone, which could accommodate over 100,000 people and give the viewers a seat number automatically. As for the people who couldn't enter the event zone or couldn't even get online due to the large number of customers, they could watch the event through the official live stream platform. People could get 1,000 penguin beans by logging into the live stream platform, and they could win more penguin beans through betting on their favorite contestants. The penguin beans could be eventually used to redeem gifts. Salah glanced at the gift shop and saw that some items were placed at the most prominent positions. The sky outfit, the rare outfit that no one can get anymore in Dungeon Fighter Online. All skins of all champions in League of Legends. The collector's edition game gift bag that contains 10 classic games. There was a group of other dazzling gifts under them. At the bottom was the consolation prize of 1 hour game time, which could be bought with only 1 penguin bean, limited to 1 for each player. TL note, QQ's logo is a penguin, and the currency that it uses is called penguin bean. The elves exchanged a look of excitement. Is the shop owner giving away gifts at a great cost to himself? The shop owner always gives us discounts and free stuff. I'm a little uncomfortable taking them. Rowling mumbled, "What are you talking about?" Elena from the Assassin Brotherhood and some knights from the Golden Griffin Knight Legion had just acquired the tickets to the new event in Zone, and they came over to buy instant noodles and beverages when they suddenly heard these comments. "What are you talking about? We were saying that the shop owner had been giving us many gifts lately," the elves said uneasily. "Seeing so many gifts from him this time, I think we should give him some gifts too in return." "You think so too?" Helen said in surprise. "I think so too," Dickers said from nearby. "What should we give him then?" Since the event hadn't begun yet, they took the time to discuss. With many viewers coming to the event, the venue was bursting with people. The players who had registered for the activities thronged in the shops. However, as the planner of this event, Nalan Minksu wasn't a careless person. Before the participants took seats, they received a questionnaire which had different questions for different shops. Salah, still in the discussion, also received it. Participation Qualifier Questionnaire. Salah read the questionnaire in her communication jade. The first question, in League of Legends, one champion is closely related to Assassin's Creed. He likes to say, League of Legends, Assassin's Creed? Salah looked at the questionnaire and read the question again before glancing the 4 answers. A. In Carnage, I bloom, like a flower in the dawn. B. Don't you trust me? C. Live and die by the blade. D. You'd wish the world you know to end. Yes. This question. Salah thought for a second. It's not difficult for me. She quickly chose an answer and read the next question. In World of Warcraft, which of the following plays is correct? You may choose more than one answer. A. When a warrior casts a taunt, shouting hey, bastard. B. A mage casts polymorph on an enemy with low HP. C. When cornered, a paladin jumps off the cliff and casts holy shield on himself. D. Sell shining silver breastplate for 5 gold pieces. This. Salah and other elves rubbed their foreheads. Let me think. Before the event began, all the shops were quiet. Obviously, everyone was busy answering questions. As the technical director, Li Heran sat before a computer with a solemn expression. As the producer, Mr. Fang sat next to him. Li Heran said, "This is the first automatic grading program made by our UI Alliance. But we tested it many times, and I'm sure it will be fine." Soon, Salah received a prompt. "Oh, I got 87 points, I passed. I got 91 points, I passed too." Rowling said in pleasant surprise, "I got 90. Nearby, Elena was feeling smug. Then, they exclaimed in joy. "Does it mean that we can enter the event that will grant us prizes? Look, I think the event is beginning." In pleasant surprise, Salah pointed at the huge stage in the center that looked dazzling under the illumination of lights. In a series of passionate cheers, 2 figures floated down from the depths of the fireworks in the sky. Time is like a song. Time flies. Dressed in a bright green long dress, the alluring and cute woman on the left said, "It has been years since we worked together last time." Standing beside her was an ethereal-looking woman dressed in snow-white clothes. Her beautiful eyes glanced around as she said, "Indeed, it has been years since we met last time, but we meet again today in another big venue with a big crowd. We thank all the Taoist friends who squeezed out time from your busy schedules to attend this event." Fairy King Yun slightly bowed. "Fairy King Yun, are you thrilled now?" Ningbai asked her teasingly. Fairy King Yun patted her chest and said, "I'm excited. In fact, I didn't expect that there would be so many people here." Ningbai looked reminiscent. "I remember that the people in the last event was less than 1/4 of the current audience, right?" "Right." Fairy King Yun nodded and said, "I thought that it was a huge crowd, but from the looks of it, I was too naive back then. Of course, this event has even bigger prizes than before." Ningbai said, "But we can tell you that today's event is extraordinary. It has a special meaning." Fairy King Yun said with a nod, "For now, we'll keep this special meaning a secret." Then, she continued, "In fact, I've been envious of Taoist friend Ningbai. Do you know why? The Legend of Mewtwo, Dungeon Fighter Online. The Legend of Sword and Fairy, World of Warcraft, League of Legends. Having played all of them, Taoist friend Ningbai must have experienced much more unforgettable moments than I did. There are also many unforgettable songs. Which is your favorite, Fairy King Yun?" Ningbai asked. I like the songs in The Legend of Sword and Fairy, especially Immortal Dream." "Oh, the next song is probably related to The Legend of Sword and Fairy," Ningbai said. "Let's welcome Elder Su Tanji up to the stage." Then, they left the stage gracefully. "Huh, Elder Su? I wonder if she will fall to the ground on her face when she lands." People talked among themselves animatedly. "Maybe a chest will appear and eat Elder Su." A large group of haters brought up her shameful past. At this moment, immortal clouds surged among the rising immortal mountains in the background of the stage while ethereal singing sounded. Kyangwa heavenly light suddenly appeared, and sword energies reached the heavens from Shu Mountain, showcasing the out-of-reach human Tao and the vast immortal Tao. For a moment, the viewers felt like they had returned to the immortal factions. In the ocean of clouds, guzzing music floated out while a crisp voice sang the song. It sounded like pearls dropping on a jade plate. Sitting in the clouds, a fairy brushed the strings of the guzzing with her pretty fingers while she sang with a melodious voice. In a bamboo hat, I quietly wait for the light to come through the clouds in the mist and breeze, listening to the ethereal Sanking Ethereal's teaching and hearing Buddha's words. TL note, Sanking is a deity in Taoism, changing fate with one hand and restoring the universe with the other. Taoist or monk, why bother with the difference?